Anime often feels like a 10-course dinner. You can have a little Chimera Ant arc here, a little Chunin exam there, and why not throw in some Cell Saga to round it out? But there are times where you'd rather just have a single perfect dish, a complete experience in and of itself that results in simple satisfaction. Nothing more, nothing less. Here are your nominees for Best Short of 2024.
Dear future me, I promise I'll take care of the person.
Your winner from both the jury and the public is One Piece Fan Letter.
Now, I'm kind of interested in this winner because obviously One Piece. In the intro I just read, like I talk about how shorts are so great because they're all like this one self-contained little thing. But obviously, Fan Letter is like this single small piece of this like 1,000+ episode behemoth, right? As someone who like hasn't watched all of One Piece, I mean, very few people have. How did you feel about Fan Letter? Do you think it deserves a win here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It wasn't like technically my favorite, but it was like absolutely up there. And my best friend growing up was a diehard One Piece fan. He talked about it nonstop to me, even though I didn't really understand what he was saying. And in terms of like what makes the series special to people and like what reaches out to them from the show, I think it was actually really good in like capturing that essence in a really short time. This might sound corny, but it was like about a fan letter to the Straw Hats, but also it was like a letter to the fans. It was pretty nice in that respect. I really enjoyed it, and the directing was amazing.
And especially the decision to tell the story from the perspective of the supporting cast, like the people looking
Mm.
on to the big main characters. I think that really kind of brought across the like fan element of it, right? Like just like how
Oh yeah.
these guys are admiring the Straw Hats, it's just like how we're admiring them.
Oh, for sure. It's also great for world building and stuff. But I
No,
haven't
yeah.
seen all of One Piece. I'm sure the world building is extremely robust, other than this special as well. But yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, our juror for this category is Vaxi. Hi,
Hello.
Vaxi. And you have seen a lot of One Piece, right? Are you up to date?
I have seen all of it, yes.
Do you think having seen all of it, that this like having the additional context that this affects your enjoyment at all? Like, how did the jury land on Fan Litter?
So I absolutely think that watching One Piece and seeing the entire thing will make it more enjoyable, but I think what surprised me the most was that quite a lot of the jury, which hadn't seen One Piece at all, still really, really liked it and put it first or second as their most favorite. As someone who has seen it, I think it definitely adds a lot, but I also think that not having seen it at all adds quite a different spin on it and is almost just as enjoyable in different ways. I think that's kind of the magic of it, that it's so amazing, both as a One Piece fan and as someone who's never heard of it. And that's, I think, why it got so highly rated by us.
Do you think it
Mm.
works as like an introduction to the series? Like, if either of you, do you think like after having watched this, you're like, oh man, I can't wait till maybe you watch the One Piece when it comes out?
I think it works as like a very, very good, hey, this is really good. Try and watch it. I'm not sure it works as an introduction of this is what One Piece is like, because obviously Fanletter is a lot better than the majority of One Piece. But it is, I think, it is a very good way of saying like, hey, maybe you should check it out. But don't expect the rest
Yeah.
of the series to be this.
That's kind of how I was feeling about it. I absolutely adored Fan Letter. I was like super pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to be watching One Piece over it though. Like,
I don't
that's
think,
a
yeah.
lot.
I think Fan Letter works because it is standalone. Like
Yeah.
you do not have to watch One Piece before or after, and it's still just as amazing.
Now, Rufus, you were a little surprised about the positioning of a different entry. Can you explain a little more about that?
I wasn't surprised because most people are bad at liking good things. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. But my favorite was Garden of Remembrance by like a country mile. To be honest, it's like it's probably one of my favorite anime ever, and it was a short that happened to air last year. It was like, I believe, what is it, ranked 6 here?
I haven't seen it. Can you describe it a little bit and explain exactly why you like it?
It's Naoko Yamada, Science Saru.
Oh.
It's a 17-minute long short. It's kind of like an extended music video. There's not really any dialogue or anything, but some of the songs have lyrics that sort of correspond to what's happening. And it's a very like, not to sound pretentious, but it's like a very emotionally intricate, melancholic take on the loss of a relationship and moving
Mm.
forward productively in life, finding new love, that kind of stuff. It's like a tale as old as time, but the portrayal was just like absolutely entrancing, at least to me.
Baxi, why do you think it ends up so low here? Do you think it's a matter of like these are really strong entries and the ranking is kind of fluid, or did it have some sort of like major flaw that the jury were picking at?
So I think actually that each member of the jury, the ones that weren't so high on it, had each of their own reasons for not being great on it. I will say that one of the key aspects, at least in short, is that because there are 300 entries, the relative quality of the ones that the jury end up picking are extremely beloved by
Hmm.
most of us, which means that even being seventh is pretty good. Of course, it doesn't look good. I will admit that. But just to explain, there was a lot of jurors who had it really high. I think a good half of the jurors had it at least in their top three. But well, not half, but at least some. But a good lot of us had various issues with it. Personally, I really enjoyed the first half with the more silent slice of life elements, and didn't care much for the romantic aspects and the later parts about the loss of a loved one. Whereas I think other people really liked the second half, but thought that the first half kind of meandered or dragged out a bit and didn't really give the correct sort of, I guess, the correct
Hmm.
introduction or starting point to what the latter part felt like. And then there's also another girl that is present in the short, which I know quite a lot of the jurors didn't really see the point of and thought that she could kind of have disappeared. And then I think the final point is that a lot of people, including myself, really did not like the emoji use that much. Maybe a lot of people is saying too much. I didn't like the emoji
Emojis.
use a lot.
There's like just a ton
It's
of
not
emojis.
egregious. I mean, I'm the wrong person to talk about criticizing this because I loved every single second of every single minute. So
Mm.
Yeah, and I do completely respect it. It's very much a kind of a personal hang up, but yeah, I think the big issue is that even if you have a small personal hang up with something, it really drags it down compared to
mhm.
basically the entire top six, which I do not have any large hang-ups of. Maybe except Lazy Cat, which I wasn't massive on either, but that's also six. So,
Oh man, okay.
but I mean, I don't want to take away that Garden isn't good. It is really, really
Yeah.
good. I just think everything else is really, really
Oh, I
gooder.
totally respect that. There were a ton of really strong entries.
Yeah, including
Yeah.
what bibbidi bobbidi boo.
No.
How many of these entries come with a dance? Huh? Tell me that. I think that it
Okay. So
skyrockets it like a couple points, does it not?
I do think that that in compared to previous years, that we have a lot of MVs this year, at least from the jury.
Mm.
In fact, we have three, I guess, that are not song wise. But yeah, I think PBD Diba is all right. I kind of respect what it tries to go for. Like the mix of live action and animation is very respectable. It's just the execution is kind of not there.
I,
It just doesn't look
I
great
would
at
agree
times.
totally, to be honest.
Oh, these guys. It's okay, Suisei, you're cute today
But I do
also
respect
to me. Kyomo, Hawaii.
I do respect what it's going for. That's why it's 9 for not 10.
I super respect what he's going for.
One final thing. Everyone seems to hate Taidada, but the public voted it pretty high. I mean, is it just a matter of people like Donadon and they don't know anything else, so they put it above Naoko
Yeah.
Yamada? So
I think personally, usually the public picks, for short at least, are very much what thing got viral this year. Because while the average public viewer maybe probably watches quite a bit of regular anime, they probably watch 1 or 2 shorts at most every year, and they understandably will just vote for that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that does mean that when you're up against 300 other shorts, it's likely it's not going to make it.
I definitely think the catchiness factor is a big factor. Because right now, just looking at the list,
No,
I can
it
just
is. The
hear
song is good.
do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
You should really listen to Never
Oh,
Really?
Enough,
Okay.
which is a fucking amazing
oh my
song.
gosh, that one was towards the top of my list personally.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's actually quite a lot of good songs. Easy to Love You is a really good song. Utakata
Oh
is
my gosh,
is
yeah.
quite a good song as well. Never Ender for me is just such a good song, such an amazing vibe. It looks amazing. It just pure orgasm in every way. Of course, it doesn't really have much of a narrative, but you just sit there and you're just soaking it in,
Mind
and it's
blowing,
great.
honestly.
I've got a couple things to add to my playlist, and hopefully you guys out there will take a look at these too. At the very, this is what the awards are for: to discover new stuff, and all this stuff looks great. So thanks guys for hanging out with me.
Anytime.
Thank you too.